If you've ever seen ring specialist gymnasts, you can notice that they don't suffer from lack of strength or muscle. Their physique tells you all. You need to be strong on the rings. In this video, we're gonna do a challenge that everyone can achieve, and by completing it, you can make the first step to superhuman strength that you see from gymnasts. So, what's the challenge? Support on the rings, 30 seconds, that's it. Wait for a second. This might be more challenging than you think, especially with the right execution. This exercise is as hard as easy it seems. So this is the part where you need to leave behind your ego, and before you jump right into it, you listen for a few minutes and then do it with me the right way. I don't want anyone to get injured. The biggest challenge while training with rings are pushing exercises. As we know, rings are moving freely. On one hand, this is an advantage in pulling exercises, our joints are thankful for that, but on the other hand, pushing exercises are much harder because you need to stabilize more. Any exercise in support on the rings is much harder than doing the same on the deep bars or on the floor. In this challenge, we'll do a basic support. But why that? Because this is the first big milestone where you use your whole body weight supporting on the rings. We could do support in the push-up position as well. It's not easy either, but much more easily achievable. For the support, you actually need to put in some work until you build it up to 30 seconds, but it's not impossible. I think this is a perfect challenge for most people. If you get this position, it's a great proof of real strength, stability, and control. You open new doors in your journey. Not to mention that doing support on the rings will transform from a challenge to an advanced prehab exercise. It's a great scapula stabilization exercise and a great start for straight arm exercises as well. As I mentioned, for the first try, most likely you won't be able to do it with the right implementation. Most people do it with elevated shoulders, bent arms, and turning the rings inside, supporting on the straps. In the right support, your scapulas and shoulders need to be depressed, your elbows need to be locked, and you should keep the rings at least parallel or turn them out. It's not only the most elegant way to do it, but the most stable position of the humerus in the shoulder joint. I don't even need to mention the wrong execution is caused by lack of strength, or I would say the lack of strength in the right position, since you need to be strong either way, but in the wrong one I mentioned, the joint alignments are not beneficial. Now, let's see real quick how you should build up the right support on the rings. First of all, since this is an exercise in support, you need to prepare your wrists, elbows, scapulas, shoulders, and also core, especially because this is an unstable equipment. I already have videos all about these. I've mentioned the importance of these areas in the push-up and dip videos, so let me not start from the beginning. It's obvious that you need to be able to hold yourself in the push-up position and in support on the P-bars. If you want to improve these, I recommend to do scapula push-ups and scapula depressions in support. The goal is to do 10 to 15 reps with 30 seconds hold in the upper endpoint with each exercise. In the gymnastics method system, this is the part of the prehab program, and after that, there are programs to build up the basic strength. Only after these I recommend to start working on the rings in terms of pushing exercises. As I've mentioned, in terms of pulling exercises, rings are beneficial, so it's worth to use them, but in terms of pushing exercises, that's the next level. So only after you have the right basics, I recommend to start the support on the rings. Also in that case, you should start with the push-up position and push-ups gradually. You can practice that in different angles or in kneeling to build up the strength in the support. Before you start the progressions of the support I'm about to show you, you should test your support in the push-up position. If you can get 30 seconds hold, you're good to go. Side note, I know this video is about how to build up the support specifically, and even if I assume that you want to work based on a system like I mentioned, the right order in terms of building up the support looks like this. Support in kneeling push-up position, the goal is 30 seconds hold. Then, support in push-up position, the goal is also 30 seconds hold. On how to build the numbers up, you will find an advice at the end of the video. So that's all about preparation, and now let's see a few tips before you check the progressions. For example, the longer the straps are, the harder it is to do the support. Normally, this won't be a problem because most likely you won't have to attach the rings that high, but I think it's just good to know. But in case you're practicing on rings that have long straps, you can connect the two straps with a rope or a rubber band above your head or even by the rings to make your practice easier. By the progressions, we'll check variations with no need of help, but in case you have a workout partner, you can assist each other by holding the rings to make the support more stable. Alright, that's all, and now let's see the progressions. Obviously, the support is a crucial prerequisite of the ring dips. If you don't have this, you won't be able to do nice rings dips, or you will just suffer and do ugly reps. If you've done push-ups on the rings, you can imagine how hard it will be to do dips. In the beginning, it's shaky, feels impossible and really uncomfortable, and your muscles can cramp. That's why it's important to warm up properly and build it up gradually. As a first step, I recommend to do it with your legs on the ground. As I mentioned earlier, the rings should be at least parallel, but if you turn them out, they will look even better and you can lock your elbows more easily. You will feel the muscle tension in your upper body and core. It won't be easy, that's why we start with leg assistance. So pay attention to the depressed shoulders, locked elbows and the parallel or turned out rings, and assist with your legs only as much as you need. Do 30-second hold 3 times to build up the right neuromuscular connection, then step to the next progression. In the second progression, you should feel your support more confident and should be ready for elevating your feet off the ground. You can do leg switches or elevations with both legs. The goal is to hold the full support for a few moments or seconds. Pay attention to the key points I've mentioned before and do 10 to 15 reps 3 times before you move forward. If you experienced how to hold the full support in the previous progression, you can start to build up the holding time. I know that the time gets subjective and every second feels more than it is. You will also shake after a few seconds. I'm shaking sometimes too. It's like the hollow body position. It will never be comfortable and you'll shake sometimes. But if you pay attention to the key points and you're shaking sometimes, that's absolutely okay and you will improve as you practice. Depress your scapulas, shoulders, lock your elbows and keep the rings at least parallel or turn them out and squeeze your core as you've learned. The goal is the 30 seconds hold. If you can do this in 3 sets, that's even better. You should practice the support on the rings 2 to 4 times a week depending on your schedule. You can increase the holding time several ways, from session to session or weekly as well. If you increase the holding time with 5 seconds each week, which I think is reasonable, you can get the 30 seconds in just 6 weeks. If you do prehab routine, you can start to incorporate this exercise into that as a vertical pushing scapula stabilization, and after a few weeks you realize it's already going well. Once you get it, you achieve a real milestone. This is a really important position that you benefit from in many exercises: dips, muscle ups, L-sit, rolls, etc. And now, let me put here a 30-second support video that you can follow along with me. I hope that gives you some motivation, but you can simply use a stopwatch on your phone or watch. So, this will be the gymnastics rings challenge. If you want to learn more about how to train with gymnastics rings and want to learn all kinds of exercise on the rings, click the link below. I can also help you personally in our private group, so if you want me to support you along your journey, join now on gymnasticsmethod.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did so, please like, share and write a comment. What do you want to see in the next videos? If you don't want to miss the new videos, subscribe with notifications on and see you next week in the next video.